What's up, guys? Welcome back. More tales. We just finished up with Lenegus, I think. I don't know what else we were gonna do here. We didn't need to buy any stuff, right? I think we were good. Oh, life bottles. Let's buy a couple, actually. We'll top off at 10. Because I know they give you some in the dungeon, and I don't want it, going to waste, of course. Can we forge anything? Ooh. No. Why is that a negative? Why are these negatives? What the heck? We have, like, the best sword in the game or something? Ooh. We can make this now. Plus 100! What? That's so much. Oh my gosh. That's a huge boon. Oh my gosh, these are all huge as well. Oh my lord. Yes, give me more weapons. This is 200. This one's small enough. I will get him this, though.
Have you guys checked your equipment lately?
Alright. Onward and upwards. I don't know why we can't fast travel right now, so I guess we're just gonna have to... walk all the way... Oh, wait. All of these are new conversations, too. So we kind of want to see what they had to say. Oh, Lord Dolan. Obviously not much. Lord Dolan, what a splendid fellow he is. I met him once as a child. He was a completely different person back then. I'm still shaken up by his speech. What he said was practically a denial of the order that the lords and sovereigns are supposed to stand for. So that's all it was? What a relief to know. I've seen a lot in my old age, but I would have never imagined that it'd be a lord who would end up saving our day in Lenegus. It's going to take time before the residential quarters are repaired, but at least for now the city is calm again. Still, to see him taking charge instead of the sovereign, perhaps he's the winner of the crown contest this time around. If his lordship assures us there's nothing to worry about, that's good enough for me. Little do they know. Little do they know. We must save the day. There's been a lot of damage, but now that the power's back, I'm hopeful that things are going to be okay. His Excellency Lord Dohalim urges us all to work together. We should think about what we can do to help the city. Just like that, Lord Dohalim managed to completely dispel people's fears. That's what makes him a lord. Yeah, nobody will think twice about trying to pull anything funny now. He's too wonderful. It would be nice if His Excellency remained so that he could continue to lead us and guide us. I'm glad to see Lord Dohalim has restored peace and order to Lenegis. I'd expect nothing less from one of our very own lords. I guess we had nothing to be worried about after all. Father, what did Lord Dohalim mean when he said solidarity in his speech? To be honest, I'm not all certain as to what he meant either. But I believe it is his way of telling us to look past our class differences and work together to rebuild the city. Class differences? You mean forgetting about people's castes and family lineages? That's right, son. That's the wisdom of the Lord for you. We would all do well to reflect on it. Astonishing how quickly His Excellency Lord Dohalim was able to restore calm simply by showing solidarity with people during a major crisis. He's the Lord who comes from House Ilkaras, yes? I must admit, some of the things he said were pretty radical. Maybe, but he also looked dignified and full of confidence. He's what every Renan should aspire to be, if you ask me. I think we already listened to all this. Didn't you hear that Lord Dohalim said? Stop fighting this instant. Forgive me, it wasn't my intention to go against His Excellency's wishes. Sir, are you alright? You're not hurt anymore, are you? Should you be talking to me? I come from the lower caste, you know. Nonsense. It's just that His Excellency said so brilliantly, this city is in crisis. We all must put aside our differences and help one another. Okay, can't go that way. I feel a lot better after hearing Lord Dohalim talk to everyone. This is all the same shit. Like, literally everyone has the same thing to say. I'm so glad to see things are slowly turning back to normal. Me too. It's a good thing that Lord Dohalim took charge when he did. But something concerns me. How would the sovereign be indisposed, as he put it? And what was he doing here in Lenegis instead of Rondana? Most likely he came here at the behest of the sovereign to help put an end to the situation. That must be it. Otherwise, he'd have to have some other sort of explanation for why he left his post. Okay. What should we do here? We got heaps to talk to. You wouldn't know which lord I support. Why, are you out canvassing for someone? I'm with His Excellency, Wolsey Tildeles. You probably know him better as Lord Balsef. Oh, Jesus. I know a lot of people consider him to be a giant brute. Believe me, I realize he can be an aggressive man. What those people don't realize, however, is how much he looks after the members of his house. It's fair to say that House Tildeles doesn't enjoy much esteem. Those of us who serve it will be the first to admit that. But His Excellency stands up against any who would mean us harm. Of that we can be sure. His efforts in the crown contest aren't only for his family, but to improve the standing of each and every member of his house. I owe so much to His Excellency. I would never dream of serving any other lord. Well, there you go.
Balsef had it in him to care about someone other than himself? Really?
It's possible. A change in position can do much to alter one's perspective. So even he might have had something he wanted to protect.
You know, you want to know which lord I support? Why? Are you out canvassing for someone? Alright, this is just what we heard. Seems like Zoogles are under control again, thankfully. I have no idea what caused them to go to berserk, but everyone should be resolved soon. Lord Dohalim, you have returned! Ah, and I see you've brought aides with you. You remember who I am, my lord? Surely you must say yes. Not only do I support House El Kiaras, but more specifically his lordship personally. So much so, I've been trying to share my appreciation to his lordship to anyone who will listen. In fact, I was planning to publish my extensive writings on the subject, though this very terminal for all to read and enjoy. But since the lines appear to be cut due to the recent tumult, I've been unable to upload them. I know, since you're here, I'll just read them aloud. Ahem. There exists a most handsome man, a man who radiates beauty, whose every word, every syllable is divine poetry. He hails from the famed House Ilkaris, and his name, Lord Dohalim. Music is his passion, the arts is his great love. The scores of boorish, uncouth men of his land cannot begin to compare to his magnificence. So refined and majestic is his posture. Why, the mere thought of it brings me to ecstasy. Once he becomes our sovereign, Rena shall bloom anew, ushering in an era of posterity for our grand civilization. Until that glorious day comes, I shall forever be praying for his victory, morning, noon, and night. Huff huff. Well, what do you think, my lord? I poured my whole heart into it in hoping to capture your essence. Wait, I forgot to mention anything about his lordship's love for collecting things. I must take this time, while the lines are down, to append it. Only then will my masterpiece be complete.
I guess she intended to spread it throughout all of Lenegis then.
Good thing the lines were down so she couldn't.
It almost sounded like she was praising them too.
Maybe there was more to the guy than at first glance.
I shall refrain from commenting.
Who would have thought an acting lord would step in and fix a problem? But is it really safe for him to be away from his realm? It's unusual to be sure, but Lord Dohalim explained the situation well. I, for one, am grateful he was there to help us. Lord Dohalim was amazing. Everyone was so scared, but he calmed everyone down in a flash. I've never seen a lord until today. He looked so noble. He sure did. There's a reason why everyone admires our lords and wants to grow up to be just like them. Let's talk to this guy over here real quick. I was surprised to hear the city's core reactor was behind all that trouble, but the situation seems to be under control now. Seems like less and less injured are coming in. I can focus on treating those that need it now. Just like His Excellency Lord Dohalim promised, the reactor's fixed. The city is safer now. Well, I never think anyone would try to tear me away from House Valkyris.
What?
What do you want? Don't tell me you work for Lord Dohalim or that dreadful Lord Almadria, do you? You don't? Well, don't scare me like that. To answer your question, I come from a family that has served House Valkyris for generations. Indeed, I'm doing all I can to support Lord Ganabel behind the scenes so that he might emerge victorious. Many think him to be a cruel man, but I insist they're utterly mistaken. Though I won't deny he can be strict, he puts Rena's interest front and center like no one else. Why? He advocates that rather than stay confined to Lenegis, we should get on with colonizing Dana and expanding our horizons. That way, we will become masters of both worlds and overturn our current minority status on Dana's surface. That is why he seeks to become our next sovereign. Trust me, is there a greater, more noble ambition than that? I think not. It is pursuit of power for the advancement of all our kind. It is what makes him an exemplary lord, a model above all others. Though I was unable to accompany him myself, my 2 sons have been blessed with the honor of joining him on the surface. As their father, it fills me with endless pride.
Ganabelt was so horrible to people, yet he was invested in helping Rena succeed. Doesn't that seem just a little inconsistent?
I'm perhaps biased in this matter, I admit. However, in my mind, while all lords vie to become the next sovereign, they're also meant to serve as guardians of all of Rena.
It seems like Ganabelt also had people he cared about until the very end.
So why couldn't he extend that to us Danans?
When you think about it, the families of Renan lords must see them differently than the rest of us.
Of course.
Yeah, despite the brutality.
Like everyone's family.
They must have had a lot on their shoulders, carrying all the weight and responsibilities of Renan society.
Renans live in a world where strength and power determine their position in the social hierarchy, so they tend to grow up fiercely competitive. But their loyalty to their people is also strong. It's what brings them together against outside forces, and nothing exemplifies that more than the Lords.
That's what makes them the guardians of all of Rena, so to speak.
Right. It's the same reason Balsif hated my guts, and Ganabelt went after you, because we're threats to Rena.
Guess that makes you an even bigger oddball than we thought.
So, Alphen, have you gained anything from all of this?
Yeah. I think it's made me realize that the lords were all people, too. Balsif and the others, they all had their own circumstances to deal with as they went through life.
Yeah, but still, just because they had loved ones in their lives doesn't mean...
I know. What they did was horrible. I'm not trying to dispute that. But at the same time, they weren't incomprehensible monsters either. They were individuals. Just like
They were
the rest
pretty
of us.
incomprehensible.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is...
You're saying that they weren't bad because they were Renans, or because they were terrible monsters. Even if they did terrible things, they were still just people.
Rinwell.
Am I wrong?
Not at all.
Being a Danan doesn't make you a good person. And being a Renan doesn't make you a bad one. I think that's something we've all seen.
Shion and Dohalim definitely make a good case for it.
And I'm going to keep doing my best to make sure I earn that trust, as a fellow human being above all else.
Quest complete. Okay. So what the fuck are we supposed to do now? Take off departure? So, time to skedaddle.
I thought we'd find answers on Lenegis, but we just ended up finding more questions.
You can say that again. And now we have more problems to fix too. Like figuring out how to reform Lenegus.
That can wait for now. We've got more than enough on our plates to deal with as it is. Like figuring out who's really running the show on Rena.
Yeah. Which is why we're going to the Renan homeworld.
All the answers we've been looking for are on that planet. The person responsible for all this. The Red Woman and the Renaissama. The answers have to be there. Are we prepared to finally find them?
So, what do we do first when we get there?
We know nothing about the Renan homeworld or what we might face once we arrive. We should get a feel for how things are on the ground before we take any serious steps.
It's also entirely possible that the first thing we're going to face is an attack.
If we come across a capital, we should... What?
Heck? What's going on? The heck? The man, the myth, the legend! What's going on, Mozo? What's happening?
Damn! The hell just happened?
Our course has been altered. The coordinates are pointing to a different destination.
What's that?
The ship's controls aren't accepting my commands. The engine is being shut down.
That's bad, right?
Quite bad. We've lost control of the ship.
Is all of this the Red Women's doing?
Are they trying to finish us off before we can land?
You can convince him to buy it for 7K? That's the first step, right? But is he gonna front the bill for it? Whoa, the Renan homeworld is gone? I have no idea what's going on right now. It's a giant space flower. We have succeeded.
A flower blooming out of Rena?
But that flower looks like it's absorbing all of Dana's energy.
And it appears Lenegus is serving as a conduit for that energy to reach here. Could that have been its true purpose all along?
If that's true, do you think the people back on Lenegus are all right?
They're
I
dead.
can only pray that they are.
He just said, "What's the matter with you kids?"
Haven't they taken enough already? When is this going to
Space flowers, man. Dude.
The flower of oblivion.
Totally, bro. Wrap that up in your pipe and smoke it.
With everything that's happening, we need to get back to Lenegus. Is the ship still offline?
Unfortunately, yes. Even more so than when it lay dormant.
Can you fix it?
Starships are extremely complex machines. One wrong
Tried pissing him off for today.
space could very well cost us our lives.
So what? We're just stuck inside here, floating around? For how long?
I don't believe this. We've made it all this way, and now we're stuck here?
Good car
We're
roast.
watching Dana die before our eyes, and we have no choice but to sit here and starve to death?
Law, calm down. You're not the only one who's worried here.
Right. Sorry.
It's still too early to give up. There has to be a way to get out of this.
Alphen.
Now what?
The starship, it's back online?
No, this is different. Something is pulling our ship in towards it.
When is the point of no return on Rena, I wonder? Because I think we can enter the dungeon and then still go back.
We managed to get moving, but where are we?
It looks like Lenegus in here.
Legendary engine in that shit
Do you
box.
think we might run into more Renans here? Or those red women?
Perhaps. Someone brought us here. The question is...
Hey, if you like the car, put it in any box you like,
We
right?
haven't been ambushed, so that probably means they aren't hostile. Still, why would anyone want to bring us here?
Hey, Shion!
If they wanted to attack us, they could have done so while we were back on the starship. We should see where this path takes us.
Okay, so according to game FAQs, we can go through this dungeon and there'll be a warning of a point of no return. So that's the info we needed. We're clear to proceed. He's a Toyota fanatic. He's not even a Honda fanatic? What the F? Come on, man. What about NSX? NSX can't get some love?
Shion, just in the nick of time. Here, lend me a hand while I...
No!
What the... Oh, right. The thorns. My bad.
No, I'm the one who should apologize. I overreacted.
Again, Law? Can't you even go a minute without putting your foot in your mouth?
Seriously,
No,
it's
he
fine.
can't.
I'd rather that than people feeling like they're walking on eggshells around me. Besides, I'm the one who should be vigilant about not touching you guys, not the other way around.
Actually, I've been meaning to ask. Not being able to touch people, does it ever get lonely sometimes?
I guess I never really thought about it in those terms. It was either accept it for what it was or come undone. Before long, it was just part of my everyday reality. I think I even forgot there was another way to live. Which isn't to say I didn't feel alone. I did. Always.
So numb to your reality, you couldn't even recognize it as
Not a
lonely?
chance to Toyota all the way.
I don't know how you managed,
It's fine. I know I'm not alone anymore.
but I can't even touch you. No way
I mean,
of lending you a shoulder when you're down? Even
What
Alpha?
good car does Toyota even make?
Appreciate the concern.
Like sports
I'm
car
tired of these
wise.
thorns. I guess I'll have to put up with it just a little longer.
I know
Not
they
forever.
have a great reputation
promise
for
you
like
that.
sedans.
Maybe it'll be soon, Maybe it won't
Um,
be. But either way,
as far as reliability goes,
and
but
I'll be
like,
ready when it does.
what have they done
Yeah,
sports
hang in there.
car wise?
one day, we'll share a big warm hug. You'll see. I promise.
Bunch of cutscenes. They had the Supra, I guess, but the Celica, hey man.
This isn't the time for
Oh,
chaos,
no.
Rinwell.
Oh, come on. How am I supposed to resist with you looking all jittery like that?
It's called experiencing feelings of
But those aren't even really
situation. You ought to try it
sports
sometime.
cars.
Yeah, but
I mean, I guess
you
they
don't
are.
feel nervous. You're making me start to feel nervous too.
Oh, sorry.
Those are all. Do they even still make?
But too much caution
those
can cloud
models?
your judgment. Try to strike a balance.
But that was like back in the day, right? Oh, they still make them. Okay. My bad. I didn't realize they still made them. They still make Celicas? I mean, that's not even really a... Guess it's a sports car. I never really considered those sports cars. You know? Yeah, true, but also Honda, right? Yeah, that's the problem.
Can't get over
They can probably make something crazy good, but they don't.
Our planet's really not doing too hot right about now.
I've only ever seen Rena from the surface of Dana, so I figured it was just another
Nissan's
like
got the
ours.
GT though, right?
Still though, I never would have imagined Rena actually looked like that. And what's the deal with that giant flower coming out of it?
Beats me. I have absolutely no clue.
It's a space flower.
Surreal.
Come on.
It looks like a broken egg or something.
Rena and Dana. We were taught that both worlds were spherical bodies that floated amongst the stars in the heavens. But to think that they lied to us not only about the Sovereign and the Crown contest, but also the form of our own planet.
Dohalim.
Okay, who's the wise guy that summoned us here?
Someone formidable enough to bring our starship along with us.
They must be here somewhere. Let's find them.
Nissan's 350, right? But the GT is like their high end. Right? So like the GT, right? This bad boy. My buddy owned a 350. He had a 240 and then he had the 350 until he freaking wrecked it.
That beam of light joining Dana and Rena. It was the Renan side that it first came from, right?
That's what it looked like. And then the Danon side responded.
Perhaps it was some kind of directive from the Renan homeworld? To reawaken the Wedge and Lenegis?
Which would mean that whoever's behind all this is on Rena after all. But
We've
would
always
they
known they've
ever?
been on
Is
Rena.
it really worth going through all this trouble just to steal Dana's energy?
Try to stay calm. With
Yeah,
so
the
many
350
factors we
was
don't
cool.
understand, dwelling on it won't get us anywhere. What is it?
No, it's just... Zephyr once told
I
me
remember
something.
taking my friend to
So much for
get
me making
his
garbage,
350 at the
You
dealership,
made it this far, didn't you?
and we drove down there in the NSX, and all the the dealers just wouldn't get away from my car. They didn't want to sell the 350. They just wanted to admire the NSX, which I found kind of funny. Alright, so we go this way, I guess. What is this? Let's just go what the heck this is. Oh, we can't take off. Okay. I guess it's worth a lot more now than when I bought it. Yeah. Crazy. You know, I never thought I would ever sell it, but you know, I don't know now, because I can't really drive it as much as I used to. Right. That's a good return on investment right there.
This place looks a lot like that room we saw back in the Forbidden Zone.
Huh? What's that?
My trickle charger did arrive in the mail a couple days back, so I might borrow
It's one of those.
a battery charger from work,
In disguise. Or is
see if it
this a true one?
So
starts.
it was a trap?
It doesn't look like it can move.
Keep it while you still want it. Yeah, I mean, I think it's only going to go up, right? That was one of the reasons why
Tell me,
I bought
are
that
you the one who
car.
brought us here?
No, I haven't. Its battery's dead. I gotta borrow a charger from work and
That is
get it
correct.
charged up.
It is unusual for me to have unexpected guests these days.
It can talk.
What are you?
Hevrect 35.
The heck is this thing?
Hevrect 35. Is that your name?
Correct.
What is this place? No, wait, before that. Just what exactly are you? Are you somehow associated with the Red Women?
Before I answer, I have a question for you. How did you all arrive in this sector?
We did not come to this place by choice. Our ship was brought here against our will, by a group of red women who can shift into the same form as you.
In that case, we can assume my brethren who serve the Great Spirit have deemed you all to be a threat most grave.
What do you mean, serve? Are you saying there really is someone more powerful than the Red Women, pulling their strings?
We've already figured that part out. Stupid law.
What did you do to us?
I examined your bodies. You have not been harmed in any way. Identifiers detected. The Sovereign and Maiden are among you. However, you aren't under its control. I see why they viewed you as a danger now.
Oh, goody. More riddles.
Do you think we can trust this thing?
Like it or not, it may be our best chance at a ticket out of here. Let's at least hear it out.
Can't hurt listening.
I shall now answer your questions. We are Helganquil. The Red
This is where we get all the
Women
answers, I think.
are a form of disguise we employ from time to time, but not our true form.
Helganquil?
You are on Dake Phasal, a celestial base which drifted here by accident. The will of Rena's great spirit no longer reaches us here. Since my sudden separation from the Great Spirit's influence, I have used any and all means to extend my lifespan.
The Great
As I have
Spirit.
done so, I have also set out to monitor and research Rena and Dana from this position.
A question. What is this great spirit of which you speak? Is it something that rules over your kind?
Correct. The Great Astral Spirit is a large mass of astral energy that fills all of Rena, one with its own will, a voice we cannot refuse.
A voice? Just like Dana.
You don't think it'll go up any
The Great
further?
Spirit speaks to our hearts directly, and we have served it without question throughout the ages.
Does that mean it was controlling your minds? Wait a second. Could this great spirit be the true sovereign of Rena?
The true ruler of Rena. It could be the same thing that's controlling Volron.
Wait, back up. You're telling us this great spirit of yours is the one that ordered you things to harvest the astral energy from Dana? I'm not sure I believe that.
Why not? We've already made contact with the will of Dana back in the Wedge, and in the Forbidden Zone on Lenegus. If Dana has a will of its own, I don't see why Rena wouldn't.
Maybe not, but think about what you're saying. If Dana has a will like Rena, then that would mean that we've been controlled by the voice of Dana this whole time, just like these things.
Dana's will hasn't been forcing us to do anything.
Yeah, but...
That you know of.
Let's assume that what Hevrect 35 claims is true, and that we are indeed cut off from both planets. Even if we had previously been under the control of Dana's will, we would have noticed now that we are disconnected.
Your fear is not based in logic. The voice of Dana is much smaller and quieter compared to that of Rena's great spirit. Rena's astral energy is amassed at its center, whereas Dana's is shared among all its constituents. So thinly is that energy spread that it cannot coalesce and formulate a will. Our findings here indicate as much.
Which explains why we felt its will where we did. The Wedge and Lenegus are where so much of that energy had been accumulated.
The Great Spirit's desire is to consume all astral energy, and the pursuit of that desire is why you see Rena in its current state. As a result, it has turned its attention toward Dana.
Is that why the crown contest is necessary? So that the Great Spirit can feed off of Dana?
Indeed, and it was to that end that we Helganquil devised the crown contest. Had the initial spirit channeling from 300 years ago succeeded, all of Dana's astral energy would have been seized.
But the ceremony failed. Lenegus was severely damaged, and you lost both the Sovereign and the Renasalma.
Correct. A change in plan was required to ensure the spirit channeling's success. However, recreating the Renis Alma required a vast amount of energy.
Only 3 are for sale?
We turned to Dana.
That's not too many.
What was the real purpose behind the crown contest? An efficient means to harvest the necessary energy from Dana.
This is all happening because of me.
You guys get a lot of
You still haven't answered
imports,
Alpha's
though?
original questions. Just why have you brought us here to your base, Hevrect 35?
First, it was to confirm the identities of you, my unexpected visitors. Second, it was to ascertain whether you would be likely to accept my request.
A request? But what could someone like you want us to...
I wish
For
you
cars?
to slay the Great Spirit.
What do you import the
Did you
most?
just ask us to kill your master?
I did. It is in your best interest that you do so, I might
I'm
add.
assuming America is the biggest importer of cars.
Lenegus has entered the final stage of the spirit channeling plan. As we speak, Dana's energy is being harvested
From Japan, at least.
and transmitted to Rena. If nothing is done about the Great Spirit, it will not be long before all is lost.
You're saying the destruction we saw earlier is just the beginning? That...
We won't let that happen.
Why do you want us to kill the Great Spirit so badly? Is it to save our world? To free you, Helganquil, from under its control? Why?
No. My primary concern is validating our findings and analysis, which have taken many years to realize. As such, it is my desire to see how your actions impact and change these systems. However, I will not deny that vengeance also plays a part.
Vengeance? For what?
In spite of our long service to the Great Spirit, our species is on the brink of extinction.
You mean you're dying?
That's what it
At
means
this
to be
stage,
extinct.
It would be wise for you to talk with the others. Ask them what you need to know. Once you have your answer, return to me. If you agree to help, I shall fix your ship.
Others? Just how many of you are there?
I am the only Helganquil who inhabits Dig Phasal.
Hey! Hey!
Nighty night. I'm going back to bed.
I think it's done talking to us. Let's take a look around.
Toyota Prius is a big one. The Prius, oh my gosh.
You can't seriously
Not the
be buying
Prius.
anything that creature told us, right? I mean, it's practically blackmailing us into doing its dirty work.
To be honest, the conversation went on for so long, I'm not sure I understood all of it. How about you, Dohalim? Were you able to follow it at all?
At the very least, everything it said about the Renan Great Spirit adds up. At the end of the day, this whole chain of events comes back to astral energy. That being said, had we not previously encountered the will of Dana, I suspect I would find its story much more difficult to believe.
The spirit of Rena wants to see Dana completely destroyed.
But why? Astral energy is supposed to be a force that creates and shapes the world.
It doesn't matter. I don't care if we're up against an entire world or what its game is. We're not going to let it destroy Dana.
Right.
There is one other thing that concerns me.
Just one other
The
thing.
Great Spirit, the Helganquil, and the Crown Contest are all part of a centuries-long plan is clear enough. But what about the Renans? How do they factor into all this?
Now that you mention it, and all that talk, Hevric 35 never even brought up the Renans once. And as for the Helganquil, we never did find out just what they are either.
Maybe it had a reason for keeping its silence. Or perhaps there's even more going on. Maybe the others will shed more light on the matter. Let's find out.
Onward! Onward! A car being a certain age? What do you mean? I don't remember anything about that. What do you mean? Like an automaker, you mean? Like the automaker itself has to be a certain amount of years old, the company? I've never heard of this. Well, this is pretty, though. There's nothing here, but it's pretty. Okay, so lower area, I guess. Space station's pretty cool. Can't interact with anything.
Who are they?
What is it?
Oh, my apologies. It's just been so long since I've seen any humans from the outside world.
Are you a Renan?
Oh, yeah, I guess so. The Overseer told us to answer any questions you might have. Whatever you want to know, we'll tell you as much as we can. But be quick. Our subjects are undergoing a dramatic shift that we don't want to miss.
What a weird...
He must have meant Hevrect 35 when he mentioned that Overseer.
And what was that about subjects? You don't think he meant Dana and Rena, do you?
There isn't anyone else we can talk to. I guess we should ask around here.
Certain cars are not allowed in the US for whatever reason. Only way around that is cars between. Oh, you mean like individual cars? Yeah, I mean, if you don't, I guess the reasoning is if you don't meet, you know, emissions criteria and whatnot, they won't allow it. You can get exemptions and stuff, I'm sure, but certain age cars are exempt from some exempt from emissions, like the Corvette. My Corvette is exempt because it's so old. It's so old. I don't have to ever do an emissions on it, which is great because it would never pass emissions.
Have you guys lived up here in Dag Fazel with Hevrek 35 for a long time?
Encourage what?
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head just how long it's been, though.
They have to meet, you know, not just that, they have to meet crash testing, safety, all that stuff.
Here in the first place.
Originally, this station was where we worked to perform maintenance on Lenegis from the outside.
We heard that the facility ended up in its current location due to an accident.
Oh, it was terrible. Apparently there was some kind of accident, and when help never arrived, they presumed the entire facility had been destroyed.
And you've been working for Hevrect 35 ever since?
Well, at first we thought that there was nobody else inside the facility, but then it turned out the Overseer was there all along.
What do you mean?
The Helganquil have the technology to cloak themselves around us Renans. As long as they don't do anything obvious, a Renan won't see one, even if it's right in front of them.
Which would explain why Shion and I failed to notice the Red Women previously. Do they employ an astral art of some sort?
I haven't been able to scientifically confirm it for myself, but from what I understand, the type of cloaking they use is primarily achieved through mechanical means. In addition, they also used hypnosis devices and information control to get us to do what they wanted without being detected. It's a pretty sophisticated
Hypnosis,
operation, especially since it avoids any unnecessary conflict. I have to imagine that's how Lenegis is still run.
But aren't the Helganquil themselves controlled by the Great Spirit? If so, why aren't Renans affected by it in the same way?
The Great Spirit's mind control only works on Helganquil, so they had to employ other means to manipulate us Renans.
Ah, this is where the crown contest comes
didn't
in.
affect you personally. If I was you, I'd be mad as hell at their deceptions.
I mean, sure, I was surprised when I first found out about it, but it happened so long ago.
Hevrek 35 has clearly ceased concealing itself, though. Why is that?
Who can say? My guess is it just got bored, or maybe even a little lonely.
Don't you want to go back home to Rena or Lenegis? Our ship is going to be fixed pretty soon. You could ride with us.
No way. If we went back after knowing the truth, they'd either just brainwash us or purge us outright. After all this time, there's nothing to be gained from going back.
How do they survive out here in this floating space station?
Watch everything unfold instead.
How do they make food? Is it like Star Trek where they can just what are they called?
Extend its life any further. That said, I'm sure
Make their own food with the press of a button?
Plan before it passes on, though.
Thank you for answering our questions.
101 cigarettes, please. Boop, 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 boop. 101 cigarettes. Have a good day. Beep boop. Oh, I don't. How can I forget an episode of Star Trek? What the heck? It was the food synthesizer. That's what it was called. Food synthesizer. I watched a show recently. It was kind of like a parody. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called The Orville. And it's by the Seth MacFarlane who did the whole South Park thing. And it's pretty freaking hilarious. Makes fun of Star Trek, but like in a good way.
Sure. It's going to be a while before the two planets undergo their next shift, so I can talk until then.
Please, tell us what you know about the Helganquill.
You mean the Overseer's species? I can't say I know much about them.
Well, for starters, where'd they come from?
Where else? From Rena, obviously.
From Rena? Wait, are you telling us those things live right alongside the Renans down there?
Of course not. There's really no such thing as Renans in the first place.
Excuse me?
Oh, I thought the Overseer explained everything.
Apparently not.
Please, tell us more.
Well, in a nutshell, the Renans were originally created from Danans by the Helganquill.
What? Mind blown right there.
But if that's true, then that would mean there aren't any people on Rena.
There aren't. But there are Helganquill. That's what the name literally means in their language. People of Rena.
But what need could they possibly have to create a whole new race of people?
It was a way to bolster their dwindling workforce. I trust you're aware that the Helganquill are on the verge of extinction, yes? In essence, we were created to carry on their work for the Great Spirit after they all die. They gathered Danans who had an affinity for astral arts and proceeded from there. That's why we, as their descendants, can all cast arts, albeit to varying degrees.
Let me get this straight. Are you saying Renans were originally created from Danans?
We're all the same species.
Wait.
That's crazy.
Almost nobody can use astro arts on Dana now.
Helganquill technology is truly amazing. The way they alter their bodies is far less
This guy seems evil.
conventional surgeries. They have these tiny machines that are practically invisible, which they insert into their bodies and...
Enough. You needn't tell us anymore.
Well, I wanted to hear it.
About all of this.
I guess I can see how, when viewed in a certain light, their ways may sound grotesque. But if you ask me, I think they ultimately did us a favor. They saved us from crawling the earth in ignorance. If it meant their hands had to get a little dirty in the process, then so be it. Anyway, the Helganquill are the real Renans. Personally, I don't think it's such a big deal. They're also mostly the ones behind what you see going on between the two planets. I think that covers just about everything worth knowing.
Well, that was a big one.
I see. Thanks for filling us in.
Yeah. That was a mind-blown moment.
Expect us to believe that Renans never truly existed? How absurd.
Dohalim.
Just when I think we're getting to the bottom of it all, some new revelation smacks us in the face.
Then let's hope this is our last revelation for a while.
I was hoping a little bit of better. I was hoping to meet some of these Renans. It was an alien crew member. Prone to nicotine. That's funny. I never saw that, or I'm sure I saw it, I just don't remember it. Alright, man. I'll catch you later. Have a good one. Thanks for stopping in. Peace out.
Do you know anything about a spirit channeling plan?
If you mean the first plan from 300 years ago, then yes. Do you know what its main objective was?
Yes. It was to use Lenegis to siphon off Dana's astral energy and send it to Rena.
Exactly. However, there were two problems we had to consider.
Is this guy gonna blow our minds too?
Send such a large quantity of astral energy without it becoming sentient. Second, we had to figure out how to convert Dana's energy so it would be compatible with Rena.
I take it the solutions to those problems were to use the wedge for the collection, and then the Sovereign and Maiden to convert the energy.
We have a winner. However, the first plan failed when the Sovereign was overwhelmed and became frenzied. The reason for that is because the Maiden lost control. I'm told he slaughtered many Renans in Helganquil that day. For the next plan, we tried to recreate the Renis Alma, but we didn't have nearly enough of the other non-dark astral energy types. To amend that, we set our sights on Dana, and implemented a system whereby we could extract energy from it.
And the crown contests began.
Correct. Since the Maiden had been the failing point in the previous plan, it was decided to replace her role with machinery to avoid further mishaps.
Oh, that's what we saw in the last boss room.
Had to be made as well. It was such tremendously difficult work, its success was dubious. But from the look of things, it would appear such worries were unfounded.
So that's what the purpose of that room we found in the Forbidden Zone was.
What about the flower that sprouted from Rena?
Yeah, what's with the space flower?
Oh, that thing. That's the physical manifestation of all the astral energy that's been harvested from Dana. As I'm sure you've noticed, it's quite a lot of energy. At this point, it's likely that it's become physically integrated with Rena's planetary structure.
Hevrek 35 mentioned that the spirit channeling plan is entering its final stage. Is that true?
It is. I never thought I would live to see the day with my own eyes, and yet here we are. Are we done talking now? If it's all the same to you, I'd really rather not miss anything that's about to happen.
He talks like the potential end of the world is just another day on the job.
You've got to remember that these guys have been living alone up here for a long time.
Yeah, all these people don't have social skills.
It feels like our whole world has been turned upside down. Is there anything we know that's still true at this point?
Seriously, I'm still trying to process the fact that we Renans were created by the Helganquil, let alone the Sovereign and Maiden stuff.
Let's take a moment to gather ourselves. I know all of this is a lot to believe and take in, but I think it's fair to say that we've found the answers we've been looking for. Does everyone agree?
I would agree.
Agreed. Though I'll admit that I never expected it to all boil down to Rena's great spirit being behind everything.
Everything that's happened, everything we've endured, it's all because of astral energy.
And to get that energy, the Great Spirit took control of the Helganquil. Then the Helganquil created the Renans, who went on to invade and rule over the Danans.
Plus, the reason the Great Spirit can't directly control the Renans as well is likely because they were originally Danans all along.
Either way, I think it's fair to say we've all had a lot to take in at once. Maybe too much, even. We should probably take it easy and rest our minds a bit.
Need some
Why don't we all
action
take
is what
some
we
time
need.
to think things over before we decide on our next move.
That's a good idea, Kisara. If the Renan Great Spirit really is behind all this, then we've got a really big fight ahead of us. Because it's not just Dana on the line, but Rena too. If we're going to do this, we need to be completely sure of ourselves. So let's go ahead and break off for now. We aren't in any immediate danger, so we should be okay. You sure you don't want to be alone right now?
I could ask you the same question.
I figured I'd get all my thinking in while walking around and checking up on everybody.
I'll go along with you. I'm interested to hear what's on everyone's minds too.
Sounds good. Let's go find them.
Everyone's just gone their own way, huh?
Yeah, let's hit up each spot.
Oh, we gotta talk to all our party members now. So far, things on Dana have proceeded according to plan. I feel honored to witness the final stages of an event generations in the making. I'm keen to see how it'll all turn out. Okay, so we get an inn here, looks like. But I'm basically fully... I don't even have a full party, so why sleep? Spirit channeling plan will soon finally conclude as Overseer reaches the end of its lifespan. After going into hibernation countless times to date, it's been a long time coming to say the least. What are we going to do once this project is over and there's nothing left for us to research? We'll always keep observing, as long as there are things out there worth watching. Once our time is up, whenever it is, we shall return to nothing. It's a fitting fate for this situation and its inhabitants after being cast out into the cosmos. This guy needs to heal? Why does this random guy need a heal? You found me collapsed again and helped me back up? Well, I appreciate it. Thanks to you, I can continue about my research. Oh shit, 5 happy bottles. Did the Renans on Lenegus lose control of their Zeugles? I suppose it's plausible, but with all the astral energy flowing through that place. In which case, the arts that were keeping them in line must have been disrupted. I doubt it was otherwise the work of the Great Spirit. I agree, it's hard to believe that such a massive consciousness could deliberately conceive and then carry out such a localized phenomenon.
Everything we thought we knew. It was all just a fabrication that the Red Women, that the Helganquil made up.
Right. Assuming we can believe anything that Hevrek 35 has told us, that is.
Well, if the names are anything to go by, it's possible the Helganquil could be behind the fruits of Helgen too.
But if Hevrek 35 was telling the truth, and this was all just one massive lie, does that mean everything we've done up until now has been pointless?
No, I don't think so. Or at least I hope not. I think it just means we've lost our foothold for now. That's all.
Really? Well then, if we've lost it, I guess we'll just have to find another. All of us together. And if we can't find one, then we'll make a new one. End of story.
Make one, huh? I see. Right then. Count me in.
Alright, who we got to talk to next?
Oh, it's you two. Does he seem like he's doing any better now?
He who? Oh, you mean Dohalim, don't you?
Dohalim, of course.
I know that we're all struggling.
That's all she
to
ever
wrap our
talks
minds
about.
around it all, but he looked like he was taking it really hard earlier.
What do you think about everything we've learned? About the Renans and the Great Spirit and all that?
On some level, I'm not even really sure what to think, to be honest. I mean, The Great Spirit is like a huge natural disaster, but with a mind and will of its own. But if that thing's hellbent on trying to destroy our planet, then the only thing left for us to do is stop it. As for the Renans, I suppose my feelings on that are a bit more mixed.
How so?
Coexistence between Danans and Renans in Menancia is still a work in progress. In my case, I think that's partly because deep down, I was still on guard around Renans. So, to be told that they're like us, that they're actually just like us is, well, I guess it's a little deflating, to be honest.
You kept a pretty level head.
You mean about the Renans? At the end of the day, the Helgan Quill and the Great Spirit are the ones who are responsible. But at the same time, I realize that not every Danan is necessarily going to believe that either.
I know you're already aware of this, but the list of grievances the Danans have against the Renans is long, and understandably so. And if people then find out that they're all actually one and the same, yeah, I don't think they're going to take to it too kindly.
Even just among the Danans, I'm sure there'll be some who emerge with power and some who won't. I think if we can find a way to get rid of that imbalance, then we'll be in a truly good place.
Well, first we can try to figure out what to do about the existing conflicts we have.
Yeah. It'd be nice if one day people could learn to get past their hatred like Rinwell did.
It's no small task. We can't pretend like the past didn't happen and ask people to forget their very real pain and suffering.
Right. Everybody has their reasons for feeling the way that they do.
I mean, really, the only
If we just keep
Renans
yelling at each other about
are
it,
on
we'll
Lennigus.
never move on. In a worst-case
I
scenario,
can't imagine there are that
it might
many.
lead to even more people getting killed.
And we all have to figure out how to meet halfway. Not just that, but to also embrace each other's
Just
pain
combine
with us.
societies.
That's an interesting way of putting it.
It's true. Everybody has their own scars, their own trauma. The first step to healing those wounds is to put aside that hatred. It won't be achieved through reasoning, but I think it's a good first step, if nothing else. And now, I think I see a way to move forward. But to do that, first we need to make sure our planet isn't going to get wiped out.
That's a good thing to make sure of.
You both seem awfully calm.
Only because after everything we've seen, we don't have the energy to keep being shocked.
How are you holding up, Rinwell? That whole talk about the Renans looked like it shook you up a bit.
Yeah. I get this sinking feeling whenever I remember how Danan mages like my family were persecuted and died out. And now, I finally know why that is. But I was thinking, if Renans end up living together with Danans again, then mages won't be such an unusual thing to see on Dana anymore, right? I know it's not as simple as all that, but Danans probably won't be so quick to let their guards down. And there might be Renans who still act superior because of their arts.
It wouldn't surprise me. 300 years of bad blood and prejudice isn't going to be an easy thing to overcome.
Yeah, I know firsthand just how much hatred can take hold in your heart once you let it in. But even so, I was still able to change. And if I can change, so can anyone else. So I was thinking maybe, I don't know, I could use my position as both a Danan and a mage to help bring both sides together.
Rinwell.
That great spirit worries me too, though. Dana's will feels so warm and inviting. So why is Rena's will trying to destroy our entire planet?
Now that you mention it, Everick 35 and the other scientists here never really brought that up. Maybe they don't know either.
Maybe. But regardless, at the end of the day, Dana's still our home. There's no way we can let it be destroyed.
We won't. We'll keep it safe no matter what.
Tell him, Rinwell. Alright, what else we got? All these people all of a sudden just show up. The Overseal will in all likelihood remain with us for some time being, as its vital signs continue to show as stable. Despite their appearance, their biology is surprisingly close to us. Isn't that just utterly fascinating? I wonder, are Danans still not given surnames of their own? As crude of a tactic as it is, it's nonetheless an effective subjugation tool. But I suppose we aren't all that different. Though grandiose sounding, ours are simply a means to identify an individual's formative background. Barring the unforeseen developments that took place on Lenegis, everything has gone quite smoothly. Even if we were to notice such aberrations for ourselves, we would likely ignore them, as it's not our policy as observers to interfere. It seems that when Lenegis was activated, no consideration was made for the safety of those in the residential core. Not that it matters. Once the planet is complete, Lenegis will serve no purpose. It's only logical there would be more pressing concerns instead. The Overseer must be so pleased to be able to witness the transformation of Dana before it passes on.
I apologize for making you witness that.
You mean hearing the origins of the Renans?
Indeed. It's shocking to have so many things I thought to be indelible fade away in mere seconds.
Even I'm still not sure everything we've heard here is actually true.
Let's not delude ourselves. If what we've heard is a lie, it's a rather elaborate one.
It's true.
I can only imagine that you must have been constantly feeling like this, ever since your memory returned, Alphen. And you as well, Shion. About your thorns, and being a maiden.
That's just part of being alive, don't you think?
Well, to say the least. But enough about me. I'm not concerned for myself. What concerns me is all of the other Renans out there.
When you say the other Renans, you mean the ones that are living on Lenegis or Dana, right?
Correct. Even if we stop the Great Spirit from annihilating Dana, our problems will still remain. Putting aside the untold state that Rena may be in, if we do not truly belong there, we will have to think long and hard about where it is that we wish to return to.
So, I guess your only real choices at this point are to either stay on Lenegis, or come down to Dana, huh? And right now, Lenegis might not even be a safe option.
And at the same time, Danans are hardly likely to embrace Renans with open arms. If the issue is forced, things could turn dire. There is, after all, 3 centuries worth of hatred to overcome between us. And the victims of our rule have absolutely
I thought it was longer than that.
animosity towards us Renans. Our own circumstances as the aggressors are irrelevant.
I didn't expect the former Lord of Menancia to be so down about people reconciling.
Menancia's fate was a stroke of good luck. There had been backlash over how it had been ruled, and I was blessed to have sympathizers among my ranks. Still, even now, there remain ardent dissidents.
But things can still change if you have the right people to help lead the way. Isn't that what you hope to achieve on Lenegis, after this is all over?
Indeed. I have fully accepted the burden of that responsibility. In that regard, I remain determined. On that note, I have something of a favor to ask of you, Alphen.
Oh? What is it?
I wish for you to serve as a mediator, so that the Renans can live on Dana peaceably. As the one and only Blazing Sword, I suspect the Danans may listen to what you have to say when problems arise.
And I take it that you'll be the one to represent the Renans?
Yes. I realize that I'm asking quite a lot of you. However, the fact of the matter is that it will take time for Renans to re-enter Danan society without any bloodshed. That is why...
You're the same as ever, Dohalim.
Is it too much?
No, relax. You get so tense and formal when you're asking for a favor. Listen, there's no need for that. We're friends.
Friends, you know, help each other
You
out.
were raised well.
That's some high praise, Alphen.
Then I'll ask once again, this time just as friends. Alphen, will you help me?
You don't even need to ask. Of course I will.
Thank you, my friend.
Aw, so touching. I want to cry right now.
I still can't believe it, man.
You're not the only one still trying to make sense of all this. Believe me.
Really? You've never struck me as the type of guy to get hung up on these sorts of things.
Did you forget what happened back in Thistleum? Once my memories started coming back to me, I felt completely and totally lost.
It was really that bad for you?
Yeah, it was. But thanks to Law and everybody else, I remembered that I still had things out there worth fighting for.
Man, I think you might be a better guy than me, Alphen. All I can remember thinking was, when's this guy gonna get his act together?
Law.
I was too worried about repeating the same mistakes I'd made back with my dad, and running away from the truth. That was no way to live. And I've tried to stay strong, my way. But all this talk about other races and the world ending, if I can be honest with you guys, it's just all too much for me to handle right now.
I know this is going to sound strange coming from me, but maybe the key is not to worry too much about the big stuff right now.
Oh?
I used to worry all the time about my thorns, for obvious reasons, but I never really opened up to anyone about them. And when I realized my visions pointed to a threat that was bigger than me, I didn't know what I should do, or who to tell. But that's when I finally got it. You guys were all there for me, to teach me what's really important. I just had to open up and listen.
In other words, if you let the big picture stuff get you all muddled up inside, you'll begin to lose sight of what you really care about. Yeah, I think you're right.
The thing that's most important, what I really care about. All I want to do is protect the people that really matter to me, to fight for them. That's good enough, right?
Not everyone is strong enough to fight.
Huh?
It's something your dad told me once when he was still alive. Law, you know you're strong enough to fight, and you're strong enough to protect the people you care about. Forget all the big stuff going on. Just don't lose sight of what you want to protect in the first place. Sound good?
Yeah, I think it does. It's like a big weight's been lifted off my shoulders. I'll fight to protect the people around me. Just like I always have. I think that's best.
Well, it sounds like everyone's learning from their past and using it to create a better future for everyone.
What about you, Shion? How do you feel about the origin of the Renans?
To be honest, I'm not really all that shocked, actually. I mean, I might be a Renan in the literal sense, but I've never really felt like one of them. Right now, it's kind of a mystery.
How do you mean?
Because for a really, really long time, all I ever thought about was how I was going to die. Not if or when, but how. I thought I'd die alone. That fate had me in its steely grip. I would have never imagined that I'd be traveling with someone like you, fighting to save Rena and Dana. I mean, how could I have? It's been going on for 300 years. All this tragedy and destruction. When you consider the Helganquil's part in all this, it's been even longer than that. It was Naori's hope that somehow, someone in the future would be able to stop it, before it was too late. How it fell on us, of all people, to heed that call, is a mystery.
I don't think Naori was hoping that we would just stop the world from getting destroyed. She considered me, a Danon, as a real person. And she very much cherished her own people, too. I don't think she wanted the world to be saved, just so they could go back to hurting each other. Oh, maybe this is what she meant.
Huh?
When we were talking to Kisara earlier, About all that stuff, like everyone's needing to meet halfway and embrace each other's pain and suffering. She said that the first step down that path was for each of us to put aside our own hatred. That means forgiving other people, even and especially before they forgive you.
Forgiving. So it goes both ways, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I don't just mean forgiving things that happened in the past either. Conflicts will keep happening. If we have any hope of moving on and building a better future, we have to all learn to forgive each other.
You know, you're right. People can hurt one another without even meaning to. I know that better than most, thanks to these thorns.
It's not going to be easy getting past this pain. But if we can do it, I'm sure there'll come a time when we can all truly understand each other. I'm there with you, Shion. I too want to protect the world we live in, and all the people we care about. I think that's the very least I can do to repay Naori for everything that she did.
Yeah. I want a future that she would feel proud to live in, and I'm going to fight for it.
Whoa there, Savior Girl. We're here to save you too, you know.
Yes, I know. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten. I want to live, and that's the honest truth.
Want to live.
Well, is everybody ready to do what needs to be done?
I am. There's a lot to think about, but at the end of the day, Dan is still in danger. I don't care who we're up against. We'll kick their ass.
What are your thoughts, Alphen? I want to know what's on your mind, too.
Like Law said, if we have to fight the Great Spirit on Rena, then so be it. It's trying to rob us of our entire world, and it's going to take not just our home, but all of existence along with it. That alone is enough to make it our enemy. But it's not only that. One way or another, I think beating the Great Spirit is going to be tied to us saving Shion.
You're saying there's a chance?
You're referring to the vision of destruction we all saw in Lenegis, I take it?
Adorable!
Yeah. 3
How's it
centuries ago,
going?
the astral energy that appeared at the spirit channeling ceremony showed Naori that vision. And to hear Shion tell it, it's the same one that she sees from her own thorns as well.
Indeed. Shion's thorns are comprised of dark astral energy, the one type which we know is native only to Rena. And if Rena's great spirit is what's behind Dana's pending destruction, then...
Shion's thorns are the Great Spirit? It's not actually on Rena like we thought?
We don't know anything for certain. At the very least, though, I think it's possible her thorns are a part of the Great Spirit.
That's interesting. Her thorns are part of the Great Spirit. Slowly? Slowly but surely.
If these thorns really are a part of Rena's great spirit, I'm going to go over there and give it a piece of my mind and then some.
The question is, how do we confront it? Suffice it to say, that flower growing out of Rena is enormous, large enough to house the will of an entire planet. The Wedge and Lenegis were both hard enough for us to overcome in their own right. This is an altogether greater challenge for merely 6.
And we only know about the Thorns connection thanks to Naori.
Hevric 35 has been observing the Great Astral Spirit this whole time. It wouldn't ask us to fight it unless it has a plan of some sort. Let's go see what that is. Our minds are made up. Let's go give Hevrek 35 our answer.
So if the Sovereign and Maiden were originally boot-up programs for Lenegis, what about now?
Even with the Forbidden Zone in ruins and the Rena Alma stolen, Lenegis is functioning fine. If it needed us before, it doesn't appear to now.
First they lumber you with a position you never asked for, then you're discarded like you're nothing? Who the hell do they think they are?
More importantly, who do they think we are? We might not even
No
factor into
Pikachu
their
emote?
concerns.
I just hope everyone on Lenegis is safe.
Worst comes to worst, Lenegis is equipped with a large number of starships the people can escape in. As long as the whole satellite doesn't suddenly explode or something, they should be fine.
Wait, explode?
In any case, if we're truly going to make a difference, it's on Rena we're needed, not Lenegis. The people.
It's been like all story all night long.
Right.
Almost 2 hours just a plot right now. We did get our mind blown a couple times. Wow, is this the actual end of our... Furby thing? Oh, it's Hootle. He's not in the this picture though. It's Rinwell's owl. It's a Hootle. His name is Hootle. And the bad guys are called Zoogles. The monsters are Zoogles. I had a stream called Hoodles and Zoogle at one point. I mean, whoever came up with names for this game is, I don't know, got something wrong. What the heck? How can you not be up on the terminology? Poodles? He is kind of cute, actually. We have to admit this. Oh, so he talked to this guy again. More plot. More plot incoming. You must know all Tales terminology.
Do you have your answer for me?
We want to ask something first. You're asking us to fight an entire planet. How exactly do you expect us to do that?
With a big gun.
You must have something up your sleeve, or else you wouldn't put us up to it.
The great astral spirit is an immense being, but its actual will does not run throughout its entire body. Rather, its will is derived from the core, which supports the rest of the body, and is where its strength is most densely concentrated. Therefore, if you destroy the core, the Great Spirit shall become unable to maintain sentience.
Wait, so
return
it's
to being
the
ordinary
planet?
energy.
And how are we supposed to destroy that core?
By using the Rena Alma. You will also need the assistance of both the Sovereign and the Maiden. They are our best tools for suppressing and controlling astral energy. Using their powers, the Maiden shall seal the great astral spirit within her body, and the Sovereign shall wield the power of the Rena Alma to destroy it.
Hold on. That sounds a lot like what Shion described before.
Yeah, killing herself to take out the thorns with her.
She was actually right all along.
Grogu. Why not call him by his real name? Baby Yoda. Come on now.
Spirit, and disperse its energy widely enough to make it difficult to reform.
What will happen to the maiden once we manage?
So we're not even going to kill it. We're just going to disperse it like a gas.
Any matter contained
It's
within
gaseous
the field of
form.
destruction shall be erased.
So it really will kill me.
His real name begins with a Y.
Most simple one available to destroy the Great Spirit, and is therefore our most reliable option.
What are our other options?
There is little reason to consider alternative courses of action when the most optimal among them is so clear.
Oh, he's too he can't be Yoda though.
Save the world without needing to sacrifice her. We didn't fight this whole time just to give up on her at the very end. If there's any other way to take out
Where he like
I want to hear
ages 700 years and is all of a sudden an old man.
Your world. Abandoning it is irrational. It is vital that you proceed with this plan. A part of Rena's great
Yanni, what's Yanni?
already resides within her. 300 years ago, the Great Spirit descended upon Lenegis in an attempt to assume direct control of the spirit channeling ceremony. We have reason to believe the Great Spirit left part of itself behind, and that it now resides in the Maiden.
Which would make Alphen's earlier hypothesis correct.
So it is her thorns.
That part inside the Maiden belongs to the core, and can be used by the great astral spirit to revive itself. So long as it remains, it will be all but impossible to fully eradicate the Great Spirit. That is why it is necessary for it to be vanquished only once it is whole. Without the Maiden's direct control over the Great Spirit, attacking it is futile, and will only serve to strengthen it.
No.
Wait. Naori said that the Renis Alma can suppress the self-realization of astral energy, and that the thorns could be neutralized by placing them in it. If so, can...
That's supposed to be his real name? Oh, I thought you were gonna say Yoda. That's why I was like, no, it's not Yoda. Yanni. Grogu was the name of the Jedis gave him when they found him. Oh, so his real name is yet to be announced, I
Can the same
guess.
also be done to the Great Spirit, seeing as the thorns are simply part of it? Well,
I kind of like Grogu too. I didn't at first, but I kind of like it now.
Renis Alma is capable of what you suggest, and could contain the great astral spirit.
Yes!
However, doing so requires fine control on the level of the spirit channeling ceremony, considering that the Renis Alma was previously lost when that ceremony failed. I cannot allow it. Its uncertainty is
Really?
too great.
Okay.
What does that mean for us if you won't allow
You've
it?
been doing some digging on this, I see.
Your starship will not be restored, and you will all be unable to leave here.
Why you?
Oh, this guy's blackmailing us?
I'd rather stay here and rot than do it your way.
Alphen?
Whatever we do, if we mess up, Dana's screwed. The Great Spirit will destroy it. If you're fine letting
In
that
it to
happen,
win it.
and we have nothing to gain either way, then I'd rather do nothing. We
Always.
want to stop Dana from getting destroyed. We want to save it. But not if it means having to sacrifice one of us in the process. If all you're gonna do is sit back and watch us where it's safe, then
Alphen is gonna have none of this.
Shut up!
Alphen.
When it comes to Shion.
What you say is irrational. Be that as it may, I shall accede to your demand.
You'll agree?
I am an observer. The Sovereign, Maiden, and Renis Alma are my species' greatest achievement. I wish to see how well they work against the Great Spirit in light of our demise by its hands.
But what are we supposed to do about the Renis Alma? One of your buddies ran off with it back on Lenegis.
One of your buddies.
It is likely that the Renis Alma is with the Great Spirit, functioning as a catalyst for it to receive Dana's astral energy.
So our only option to retrieve it is to head straight for the Great Spirit and take it back?
When does season
According to my observation,
season 3 come out?
astral energy is most densely concentrated in the center of Rena, where the Great Spirit's core is located.
So right in the middle of that giant flower then.
I have one more question. You've said that Rena's great astral spirit is already integrated with the planet. What will happen to Rena once it vanishes?
Next year. Can't wait that long.
Without the will of the Great Spirit, Rena is predicted to collapse. Even in such a scenario, the energy will disperse, and the Great Spirit will likely not reform.
So you're saying that even if we manage to beat the Great Spirit without destroying it, we'll still be in danger?
Likely, the collapse will occur in stages. It is recommended that you all escape before the final stage.
Man, I wish that thing would tell it to us straight for once.
Havrek 35 and the others have gotten used to hypothesizing from afar is all.
Got the nod.
Fix our starship.
Means we did something
We're going
right.
to Rena.
That's woman talk for you did good.
But I want to make one thing clear. We're doing this for ourselves, to protect what matters to us. We're not doing it for your sake, or because you told us to. Remember that.
He sounds like a child, like a teenage kid.
The end result shall be
I'm not doing this because you told me to.
Repair work on your starship has commenced. You'll have to wait until it's finished.
Give people brownies.
Man,
Yes.
Is it too much to ask
The truth
for
trophy.
35 to talk like a normal person? I swear I can feel my brain starting to fry after listening to all that.
You gotta mark that down.
stuff.
Don't worry. I think
We have a
reach agreement
list.
with him. Now all we have to do is rest up and wait. Once the Fall Knights is good to go again, we'll be taking off for Rena right away.
Brownies works too. Brownies or cookies. His voice sounds eerily like Dohalim's, but with an auto-tune. I think they used the same voice actor. Brownies last longer. Yep, that is very true.
Is the Renis Alma really our only hope against the Great
Is it like a whole plate of brownie? Like one giant... You haven't even cut them up? They're the whole plate?
Was able to suppress astral energy to prevent it from gaining sentience, right? Couldn't we make use of that somehow?
I'm not sure. In small doses, maybe. But with the amount of energy we're talking about here.
Back in Calaglia, the Blazing Sword was able to take in a whole spirit vessel's worth of energy. If it has the capacity to manage that, it can do this, right?
Except after it absorbed the energy, it ended up releasing it all moments later, remember? Let's not forget, it nearly killed you.
I want to do good deeds.
This is the Great Spirit we're talking about, not a pulp.
Many good deeds equals many brownies.
Your body wouldn't be able to
Many
take the
brownie
strain of
treats.
channeling that much energy.
Havrek 35 didn't mention it, and it did not seem the type to skimp on details. So assuming it's even possible, the chances are slim to none.
I love like a fresh baked brownie. Like when it's all mushy. Oh my god. So good. Hot and mushy. Oh, it just like melts in your mouth. Oh my gosh, yes. Give me some mushy brownies. It'll take some time to completely repair your starship. I suggest that you all get some rest in the interim. Alright, fine. Make us go to bed? You're not my mother. Don't tell me what to do.
You still thinking about what the scientists told us? About where Renans really come from?
I am, but not for myself.
You're worried about the future of the Renan people.
The fact that our people have been the same this whole time will only give the Danans further reason to resent us.
She's lounging all sexily in her full plate armor.
Don't you?
She's trying to give the signals to Dohalim.
Well, I did declare that I would live my life for the living, and not the dead. Even as I dream of retirement, I shall remain dedicated to the cause.
I'm sure you'll do great.
Now that I think about it, I don't believe I've ever heard you criticize or reproach us Renans even once.
I'm no saint. I have skeletons in my closet too.
I like how she literally has no back armor though.
I hated them just for being Renan.
Like,
but you changed that, Dohalim.
it's just some
You gave me an
straps.
opportunity to see them in a different
She's like
light.
full plate armor everywhere
Thanks to
else.
your reforms, we were able to stand next to Renans not as slaves, but as equals.
I guess she plans to not show anyone her back.
Of course.
It's one way to do it, I guess.
Some Renans who still hated us on the inside. But we knew that not all of you were like that. There were those of you who were good, and that was a start. When it comes down to it, Renans are just people.
Not to him.
Good or bad, just like Danans.
Who would you be doing it to?
That is, in essence, the heart of your approach, isn't
It'd be
it?
the only thing you can do because it's so freaking heavy,
Yeah, it is.
probably.
When you can pull someone aside and talk to them one-on-one, then you have the chance to come to an understanding. But as soon as you stereotype, that chance goes away, and you stop thinking of them as people that you can relate to.
I understand what you're saying, but we're talking about massive numbers of Renans and Danans alike. Realistically speaking, surely they won't all be able to get along.
Yeah, I think his costume's like the worst one, to be honest. I would agree with that.
Luck among their friends. If we can build a society that works like that, that'll be something worth nurturing and protecting.
So you wish for people to form real bonds and do away with the hierarchy outright? To deal with one another as humans, and nothing more?
What's the type of governments you're talking about here?
Yes, I do.
Democracy?
I think it would make for a fine tribute to my brother's legacy. Though, that said, I would be doing it for the people of the future first and foremost. Do you still plan to return to Lenegus?
Not waste your essence?
Indeed I do.
His costume isn't worthy of your lounging.
My first order of business may be to find somewhere to live.
You'll always have a home in Menancia, you know.
It's got a cape, too. Who doesn't like a cape?
Keep in mind.
Well, if you ever need a helping hand, don't hesitate to come get me. I'll always be there for you, Doe.
Did you just... Never mind.
She just called him Doe.
Thank you, Kisara. I appreciate your patience as I work all this out.
Don't even mention it. And really, when you think about it, now that we know the two of us aren't so different after all, don't you think that brings down a barrier that used to be between us?
You know, I hadn't actually thought of it that way before. But I do like the sound of it.
Yeah, I think I do too.
Hey, why'd you call me here? Was there something you wanted to talk about?
Well, if everything we've heard about the Great Spirit is true, then we're getting close to our final battle. So I wanted to apologize while I can.
Apologize? For what?
I was being real stupid before, about whether Dana's will had been controlling us and all that. I get why you're angry now. Anybody would be if something they trusted was being questioned. So, I'm sorry, Rinwell. Really. I should have kept my mouth shut.
No, Law. Honestly, I think you might have been onto something. Of course you were worried. Who wouldn't be if they found out there might be some invisible force pulling our strings this whole time?
But you really trust Dana's will, don't you? Is it because you can sense it a lot more than the rest of us? Because you can understand it?
Yeah, I think that might be part of it. But I also want to believe it's good.
Believe?
Remember how I used to really resent coming from a family of mages?
Yeah, of course. Because you were always on the run and had to live in hiding.
When we rescued Zephyr and I finally decided to come along with you all, something changed inside me. It was the first time I felt like my powers had any meaning, even if that meaning was only helping you guys fight. Then, when I felt Dana's will, I was overwhelmed by how vast and warm it was. It made me want to believe my powers were made to connect with it. It made me believe I had a bigger purpose.
So that's why you hope it doesn't turn out to be bad. You almost need it to be kind.
Yeah.
Well, alright. Then I promise I'll lay off bad-mouthing it.
You will?
There's no way for me to know for sure one way or the other, right?
Bad mouth my shit.
Well, and that's enough for me. So I'll trust it because you do.
Remember what I said about neither planet's great spirit reaching us here?
Yeah?
That's not quite true. I can feel just a little bit of Rena's inside you and everyone else.
You... what?
I sensed it when we first got here. It's a really small amount, so it doesn't feel like it has a will of its own. But I think that's how Dana's energy probably is too.
So you're saying there's a little bit of Dana's will inside each of us? In a way, doesn't that mean we're all Dana's will?
What?
Well, like you said, unless Dana's energy comes together, it has no will. So if we all have a little bit of Dana's astral energy inside us...
Yeah, maybe...
Oh, Law being all philosophical and shit?
But, you know what? I don't need to ask it. My will is my own. I fight for who I want to fight for. That's who I am now. Who I've become. So thanks, Rinwell, for sharing that with me.
I don't know if they're gonna listen.
To be honest...
Kiss already, you two. Come on.
Dana's will... Well, I mean, it mostly was... I feel like you and I had grown apart lately, and I was worried it was because...
Huh?
Never mind. Nothing. Just forget about it.
Huh? No. What were you saying?
Saying? I don't remember.
I'm in love with you, Rinwell.
You won't tell me what you were thinking?
That's not what I'm saying.
Then spit it out already.
That was a cute scene. Okay, I'll give him that. And Dana is lame.
Are you sure you don't want to get some rest?
I can't.
Dana is
I've got
lame.
so much on my mind, especially knowing how close our last battle is. How are you doing, Xion?
Same as you, still trying to absorb everything.
Remember when it was so simple? We were only fighting all the lords on Dana? All of that feels like a lifetime ago, doesn't it?
Ages and ages ago. Everything that's happened since we first met. So many fights, so much chaos, so many wonderful people.
If I hadn't run into you that day, well, I wouldn't have met all of you. I never would have held the blazing sword or looked for something more. I wouldn't have.
I'd still be in my mask.
I'd still be a faceless slave, like as not long dead.
This game has been forever. True.
Hey, Alphen. I want you to promise me something.
Yeah?
I've been playing 2 hours, and I haven't done anything.
I want you to do.
Like, this has been all plot. All cutscenes.
Like Hevrect 35 said, The only way we can end the Great Spirit for good is to go after both the main body in Rena and the thorns in me. I need you to promise me, Alphen, that if for some reason we can't get the Renis Alma back, you'll use the blazing sword to destroy the Great Spirit, and me along with it.
Huh?
You know he's not going to do that. He's in love with
The
you.
blazing sword may not have the strength of the Renis Alma, but it's taken us this far. It's slain lords and beasts. At the very least, it has to be worth
I do like her new outfit, though.
You can't be serious.
I don't know about his new outfit.
Listen, the Great Spirit isn't just our problem. It's a threat to our entire world. Renans and Danans alike. We don't know what's going to happen when we face it, but we need to be prepared for anything. We can't second guess ourselves when the time
It's got
comes.
poof. It's definitely got poof in the
I'm
back.
not planning on going anywhere. I'm prepared to fight with absolutely everything I've got. But if it comes down to it,
The feathers, I think, is what make it.
prepared too.
The fact that she doesn't have a giant ponytail anymore, I think.
Okay.
He's never gonna do that.
I'm not going to give up on you, Shion. I'm going to fight this until the very end.
Yeah,
I
it's
hope you can
it's
forgive me for
nice.
that.
How do you even do that? Is that you? Did you just braid your ponytail and then wrap it around your head? Is that how that works?
Okay, I understand. And I'll forgive you.
Thank you, Shion.
So it's a promise then?
Yeah.
Can't braid it?
It's a promise.
Yes, you two. Come on. Wow, that's the first time I've actually seen her smile.
I remember how I felt the first time you touched me. My thorns made any contact a mistake no one would ever make twice. After they'd seen what could happen, fear would always linger behind their eyes.
That's what YouTube's
My
for.
entire life, I never had someone
I call it
genuinely reach out to
school.
me. But when you reached out to me and gently took my hand, you
The
didn't
real
force it
school.
all. It was so easy.
It's
for
called
me.
YouTube.
I don't have words for the shock I felt in that moment.
That's because I couldn't feel pain back then.
Even once you could, though, you still chose to keep reaching out to me. And when you did, I felt this warmth that I had never known before. But still, I hate having to see you suffer through it every time you do.
You won't have to worry about that for much longer.
You think so?
I do, because Shion,
Say it.
No. You can tell me once my thorns
Say
are
it.
gone. Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
With the giant space flower in the background. Wow. Hey, what do you know? More cutscenes.
You ready for this?
Yeah, we should probably get moving.
Agreed. Can't stand around waiting all day.
Our task is relatively straightforward. We need only descend down to Rena, defeat the Great Spirit, and restore stability to both worlds.
Yeah, relatively
Fighting for a
straightforward.
new future for both Dana and Rena.
Right. We've come this far. We will save our worlds. That's a promise.
I'm sure some do.
Let's go, everybody. We've got one last wall to tear down.
Repairs on your starship are complete. Everything is in working order.
Is that you, Hevrek 35? You can see us from where you are?
I can. I can see anywhere within the bounds of Dake Faisal.
Sounds like someone's a peeping Tom.
Maybe we should give Hevrek 35 a
Someone's a peeping Tom.
He's been stuck
What about the
in the same
bathrooms?
facility
Could you see in the
for a very,
bathrooms?
very long time.
I have unlocked all functions on your starship. You can now make use of its warp drive.
Make it so, number one.
Warp drive?
Warp 9.
Wait, you mean like what the Red Women used on us? What brought us here?
It's possible that the Red Women may have found a way to activate it on the starship. They are Helganquil, after all.
Using the warp drive.
That is true. There's some good voice acting in this game.
Wait, should?
You'll need to be careful. Due to the force field surrounding Rena, the ship will be unable to go any further than the surface of the planet.
So, once we reach the shell, it appears we'll have to infiltrate the core by foot. Understood.
We gotta go all the way down just walking?
Will all the Helganquil go back to normal once we defeat the Great Spirit? I have a strange feeling we're going to have to fight them before this is all over.
The extinction of my people is inevitable at this stage. As such, it would be illogical to risk the success of the mission in a vain
My attempt at Romanian accent.
We understand.
Can't that thing lighten up a bit? Everything it says.
We saw that guy a few times. It was the
Come on, Doe.
Hold up. Did
the
you just...
You heard the lady. Get going.
I have one last question.
the traveling connoisseur, I'll call him, I guess.
As sovereign, your
We saw him like 3 or 4 times.
indicates that you are well past your predicted life expectancy.
Thank you. I don't know how stellar it is,
Maiden
but
lacks any identification number, as her function should have been rendered unnecessary. Despite this, the two of you continue to exist. Why?
We exist because others have entrusted this to us. Over the years, many people have come together and sworn to see this through to the end.
You mean it is because of multiple chance interactions? The likelihood of such events is statistically improbable.
he's really good at pep
Why
talks.
do you two continue to persist under these conditions?
It's hard to explain. To be honest, I don't think it's something an observer could understand.
You had me at warp drive. That's all the computer had to say. Had me at warp drive. I'm forever in love with you, computer. Wow, the cutscenes are done, at least for here. Oh my gosh. So, we've been streaming for 2 hours, over 2 hours, and we literally have not done anything. So, I'm gonna have to wait to start the final dungeon Thursday. I'm gonna have to call it here, unfortunately. But stay tuned for hopefully no cutscenes on Thursday, and we'll do some actual action finally. But thanks for hanging out, and hope to catch you guys all on Thursday. Peace out.